Each one of you who crosses the stage today can no doubt tell a story about the time, hard work, and yes, the sacrifices that you made in order to earn your Misericordia University degree. And I'm sure that those stories could no doubt be embellished by family members who are with you here today as well. This is a proud moment for you and for them. Tina and I join your faculty, staff, coaches, and others at Misericordia along with our trustees in offering you our most hearty congratulations. There are two graduates with us today whose tales of sacrifice and achievement are extraordinary. Like most of you, they came to Misericordia to study as freshmen. Like you, Michael Muhamusa and Regis Rugamashiro grew up in caring and loving families. However, unlike you, those families, and indeed their native homeland of Rwanda, was torn apart by sectarian violence and eventually genocide. Graduates, I do not tell you this to throw a pall on the ceremonies today. Rather, I do so to point out a very endearing characteristic of our university. Misericordia welcomed Michael and Regis with open arms as part of our extended family. They have been treated with kindness and dignity that our Catholic identity and our Sister of Mercy heritage of mercy, service, justice, and hospitality have imbued in all of us. This is so much the case that Regis intends to stay at Misericordia and pursue his MBA while undertaking a rigorous internship under the tutelage of Mike Amory, a member of our Board of Trustees, class of '85. We have learned much from these two wonderful young men, whom we now count very much as our friends. They'll eventually turn to their native land, Rwanda, a country which is now experiencing a rebirth through reconciliation and balanced economic growth. Our commencement speaker today, who we're fortunate enough to hear, has some important things to say about the shared responsibility we all have to stand up for those in need, whether they be in Africa, America, or anywhere. Thank you, class of 2010, for being there for Michael and Regis, for helping them, and most of all, from learning from them. Please take that caring spirit with you when you depart your alma mater.
President McDowell, Chairman Siegel, I have the pleasure of presenting to you Prudence Bushnell for the degree Doctor of Humane Letters.
Ambassador Prudence Bushnell, as a diplomat, business leader, and educator, you have distinguished yourself for your work both in public and private sectors, but especially for your contributions in Africa to respond to the horrors of terrorism and genocide. Born in the nation's capital to a State Department family, you spent your youth traveling in Germany, France, Pakistan, and Iran. You earned a bachelor's degree from the University of Maryland and a master's degree from Russell Sage College. After a successful career in management and leadership training, you entered the Foreign Service in 1981. Once appointed to the post of Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs in 1993, you faced a serious challenge of the emerging genocide in Rwanda by meeting with suspected leaders in an effort to stem the human tragedy there. Your heroic efforts were portrayed by actress Deborah Winger in the 2005 film, Sometime in April, and I commend that film to you. Once you're done with your graduation, take a little time and see the film. President Bill Clinton nominated you as ambassador to Kenya in 1996, where you witnessed the impact of terrorism firsthand on our embassy in Nairobi, was destroyed by a bomb later attributed to Al-Qaeda. Injured in the blast yourself, you still helped coordinate the response and rescue operations and guided the mission there through a difficult process of recovery until being appointed to ambassador to Guatemala in 1999. Prudence Bushnell, for your efforts in the face of tremendous challenge. You earned numerous accolades, including Department of Commerce Peace Through Commerce Award, the Service to American Career Achievement Medal, the Nairobi Mission Award for Heroism. You were also named Glamour Magazine's Top 10 Women of the Year and to Vanity Fair's Hall of Fame. Today, as CEO of Sage Associates, you lecture and consult on international leadership topics across the globe. Your written works on leadership and terrorism have been published in Cambridge University Press, and you are the frequent guest on television and radio news programs. For your life's work toward the improvement of the human condition, the protection of human rights, and for representing the courage, compassion, and capabilities that American experiences around the world convey. We are pleased to honor you today. And so, by the virtue of the authority invested in me and Chairman Chip Siegel by our Board of Trustees, and through them by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I do hereby confer upon Prudence Bushnell the honorary degree Doctorate of Humane Letters honoris causa, with all of the rights, honors, and privileges thereto appertaining. Prudence?
Well, look at you. Is this a gorgeous crowd or what? President McDowell and members of the university community, I really appreciate having been put in the company of Sid Dundrick, Stan Dundrick, and Chris Reese, whose contributions to medicine and art, respectively, leave me in awe. Graduates, are you ready to come up on stage and get your degree? All right. I have one last pop quiz for you. How do you spell millennium? I ask you that because if you are between the ages of 19 and 29, how many of you are between 19 and 29? Raise your hand. You, my friends, have been branded the Millennium Generation. And Pew Research Center has got your number because they did a survey on you in January of this year, and here is what they concluded. You are distinguishing yourselves already as confident, self-expressive, liberal, upbeat, and open to change. You are more ethnically and racially diverse than the rest of us. You're also less religious and less likely to have served in the military. You are becoming the most educated generation in the history of the United States, and oh yes, 80% of you sleep within arm's reach of your cell phone. 40% of you have tattoos, and I will not even go into body piercing. Get on the net and find it out yourselves. I, on the other hand, am a senior boomer. We are the generation who gave you great music, Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. We are moving off stage as you enter on stage, and some people think it is not soon enough. Now, the reason some of us may not be anxious to move off stage, other than the economy, is because some of us, like you, may be asking the question, now what? I asked that question, and in case you are asking the question, let me share my own observation, because I came to this learning only a few weeks ago. The answer to my question when I retired from the Foreign Service as an overachiever female a few years ago should not have been now what, because I couldn't answer that. What it turned into was what needs doing in my world. And in your world, my friends, let me tell you that the boomers are leaving you some unfinished business. And there are 4 areas of unfinished business that I think need doing in your world and in mine. Number 1, unfinished business, the gap in the respect, the resources, and the rights accorded women all over the world. Women make up. Thank you. I'm glad you share my passion. Women make up 60 to 70% of the world's poor, and we know that feeding a woman, getting a woman out of poverty means saving an entire family, and we are not yet doing it. In the United States of America, we know that working families today are losing about $200 billion a year because of the wage gap. And we are not doing enough about it. We know that the pressures of working both in the workplace and in the home fall primarily on women, but we have made it a woman's issue, and we are not yet sharing in the responsibility. We support human rights all over the world, and yet we rationalize inhuman practices and political repression against women as a cultural or religious or other issue that is none of our business. I invite you to make it your business as it is mine. Number 2, unfinished business. The shift in leadership models from controlling and hierarchical to collaborative and team-focused. When I was growing up, leaders were born, not made, and they were born men, preferably tall and good-looking. The one woman role model I had in my history was Joan of Arc, and look at what happened to her when she put on a pair of pants and dared to lead men. I started my career as a secretary and ended it as an ambassador because attitudes about leaders and the skills that effective leaders use changed, and it needs changing even more. Rose Beth Moss Cantor, who is a leadership expert at Harvard, was once asked the question, if women led the world, what change would there be? And her answer was, if women led the world, there already would be change. The difference, I think, includes a difference in the following attitude. In a recent survey, both men and women admitted that they believe that women take care and men take charge, and it is better to take care unless you're female, because it's better to take charge unless you are female, because women who take charge, my friends, today are seen to be ambitious, aggressive, and unfriendly. Oh dear. Women who take care, on the other hand, are seen to be incompetent to be leaders. Well, let me tell you, in the modern model of effective leadership, one takes care and one takes charge, and it is not a gender-specific role. So I invite all of you, men and women, to take charge of your business and to take care of your people. That is everybody's business. Number 3 area of unfinished business for me, the indifference and/or the ignorance of American people about the impact we are having on this earth and with our global neighbors. We have the largest economy in the world, the most powerful military in the world. We consume and we may waste more than anyone else in the world, and we are doing extraordinarily good things and some bad things, and we don't seem to give a hoot. We have delegated foreign affairs to our government as if foreign affairs was none of our business. When we did that in 1994, I was leading a small interagency group in Washington, D.C., and we witnessed the slaughter of tens of thousands of Rwandan people day in and day out for weeks. The National Security Advisor at the time, Tony Lake, was asked years later why the White House didn't act, and his answer was the phones were not ringing. My friends, I think this country is the hope of the world. We're the hope of the world because we are the world. Look at us. We are from everywhere, and we need to care enough and learn enough to make the telephone rings, and you, my millennial friends, are the connected generation with your cell phone. So would you please connect with your cohorts around the world, find out what they are thinking, because they are going to impact our future. And then pick up your phone. Lastly, in my area of unfinished business, is our over-reliance on armed and military solutions to the detriment of addressing our problems in other ways. Now, like other boomers, I was conceived in the victory of World War II, and since then, I have lived through, along with a lot of you, the Cold War, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the war on poverty, the war on drugs, 2 wars in Iraq, a war in Afghanistan, and a war on terror. Don't you think it's time for another approach and a better metaphor? I hope so. There is no greater challenge to the graduates of Misericordia University than to serve. You can serve in the military and be proud, and you can serve as the Sisters of Mercy served in civilian aspects of life and also be proud, and I hope you will do that to honor your country and to make a difference. I walked off center stage 4 years ago with "now what" as the central question, and I shifted it to what needs doing, and I rediscovered my passions. Now I am ready to change roles. What I want to do is to coach you, to train you, to mentor you, to work with you, and to serve with you so that you and I, can make a positive difference. So would you please come on upstage and get your degrees, because there's a whole lot of unfinished business waiting for you. Thank you and congratulations.